Am I the asshole for missing my FIL's funeral after my mill booked my husband first class but me economy? Me female 31 and my mill don't have a close relationship. She's civil towards me but can be a bit passive-aggressive at times and we tend to disagree oftentimes. We live in a different state. Phil passed away suddenly and Mill told me and my husband to come attend the funeral. She booked our tickets to fly to her state. But the issue started when my husband told me that we couldn't sit together in the plane because his mom had booked him a first-class ticket while I got economy. I was flabbergasted by this. I tried asking him why but he urged me to suck it up, and we'll talk about it later. In that particular moment I felt so much humiliation and contempt. I felt like she was treating me as less than even in her hard times. I decided to not go and just go back home. My husband was shocked by my decision to go home and tried to convince me to just go but I declined. He went alone and I ended up missing the funeral. He was livid, just calling male 3 and texting nasty things, calling me petty and spoiled. He said that I should be grateful his mom paid for my ticket to begin with, then said that she doesn't owe me a goddamn thing. I argued about how she could have just booked us both in economy if money was an issue, but he called me pathetic for thinking about it when his dad just died. He said it was cruel what I did and that his mom and family will never forget that I missed the funeral over ridiculous reasons. Am I the asshole for going home over this? ETA. One of the reasons I didn't settle for the economy ticket was because I wanted to sit next to my husband and support him. He sobbed the whole ride to the airport and I didn't want to leave his side. I was shocked when he told me we couldn't sit together, and how he said it like he had no issue with it. Everyone sucks here. The seat issue was more important than supporting your husband after the death of his father? This is exactly the point. Obviously Mill is an asshole and her actions were uncalled for and petty. But, you made your husband go to his father's funeral without the support of his spouse, and you did this over a first-class seat. You played right into your MIL's hands and may have caused irreparable damage to your marriage. I agree, but I'm including so in this. There's no reason he couldn't go, support his mum, and support his wife by just sitting in economy with original poster. He didn't go to support his mom, he went because his father died. He didn't need to support his wife needed to support him. Because again, his father died. And original poster failed miserably at a time where what she needed to DL was incredibly obvious. Exactly. Nobody gets a Nobel Prize here, but the husband's grief is more important than the original poster's pissing contest. You are the asshole. Yes, it was very shitty from your mill to book you in economy class, while your husband was in first class. But you let a petty quarrel with your mill prevent you from supporting your husband when he needed you the most. You husband have every right to be pissed. You basically told him that your grudge against your mill is more important than supporting him. Edit. No, I won't say ishish. The husband doesn't suck. And the mill just lost her lifelong partner, have to pay for plane tickets for 2 persons, and she wanted to pay a little treat to her son. I am giving her the benefit of the doubt that she did this to spoil her son, not to piss off her dill. Point 1 to Mill. She now will forever be able to say, she didn't even come to the funeral. Look how she didn't support my son in his time of need, and don't get me wrong, Mill is a complete asshole for this, but no one in the family will ever care about the plane seats, they'll just remember original poster wasn't there. Original poster should have taken it on the chin, gone to the funeral, been supportive, and let everyone find out about the seats. Give Mill enough rope to hang herself. But no. She played right into MIL's hands. Bet Mill is laughing herself sick over this. She got even more than she wanted. Everyone sucks here. You Mill won. It was most likely her intention to cause a fight and she won because you didn't go. Now she gets to bash you to everyone for not attending. You didn't support your hubs when he needed it. So now all the nasty things she whispers in his ear while he's there, he's going to agree to you. You were put into a losing situation either way. The whole thing sucks. Sorry this happened to you. I agreed with you until this part greater than you were put into a losing situation either way. The whole thing sucks. She could have asked if upgrading was a possibility if they could afford it, or she could have sucked it up so she could be there for her husband at his father's funeral. This was not the time to stand her ground. She could have waited to have a discussion about his mother's behavior after or another time. You were right. My petty ass would have tried to upgrade her CC. But my husband would have taken the downgrade to sit by me. My hubs is fully aware of his mom's shenanigans. This is what I don't understand. If he wanted her support so bad, why didn't he just upgrade to be with her? This whole conundrum could have been solved so easily if both parties weren't blinded with their own agendas. You are the asshole. I get where you're coming from. Mom probably thought she could do something to divide you from her son in his time of grief. But, you fell for it hook, line, and sinker, right? She drove a wedge between you and your husband and ensured the family will remember you as the wife who didn't go to her husband's dad's funeral, and it doesn't sound like your husband was lost on the issue. He just asked you to hang in there for one plane ride in economy. He knew she was doing something shitty, but also knew it's not like he can refuse to go to his own dad's funeral. You played right into her hand better than she could have ever hoped for, and then made sure she got to spin whatever narrative she wants while your husband is left holding the bag. Do you think he's gonna say, she didn't come because her paid-for ticket wasn't first class like mine? What is he even going to be able to do? It's just about supporting your husband when everyone around him is in a time of grief, and you did more damage than a petty mill to your relationship with him and his family. It was the exact reaction she was hoping for from you. I couldn't upvote this enough times. This should be top comment. Mill obviously meant it as a slight, and original poster jumped at the provocation instead of putting her husband's needs in a time of grief first. It's also possible there was only one first-class ticket left, so one of them had to sit economy. People saying he should have traded? Heck, I would tell my husband to relax and I'll see him after the flight. Figure it out later. She said she wanted to sit with him because he was upset, but then she left him to deal with all of it alone? We had to drive 3 days, 12 to 13 hours a day with a 18-month-old. I would have jumped at any tickets. Absolute masterstroke by Mill. Whatever department of the CIA that is responsible for overthrowing foreign governments that want to bring in universal healthcare, she should be the head of it. Yes. She is so much smarter than original poster. To think of such a devious solution, planning the demise of her beloved son's marriage in the moment of her grief? Mill knows who the original poster is, and she played right into those weaknesses. Brilliantly done. Everyone sucks here. But I'm leaning a bit towards YTA, original poster, only because your husband's dad just died, for goodness sake. Did this really need to be the battle you go all in for? And by the way, your Mill won this battle. Good luck with salvage efforts. Like really. He sobbed all the way to the airport, then you left him there. You are the asshole for SUUURE. This is a tough one. I'm going with everyone sucks here. Your mother-in-law was petty and juvenile, but your husband's father just died. This was about him, not you. The fact that neither yourself or Mill could put your shit aside for a situation like that is the most disappointing part of all. This is what I'm trying to tell all those numb-minded people who are saying not the asshole. It was his good damn father's funeral, give the man a break. Everyone sucks here except your husband. I cannot believe people are saying original poster's husband is an asshole for not freaking out at his, albeit toxic, mom when his fucking dad is dead. He's probably pretty fucking upset. It's a seat. Mill sounds like an insufferable shit, but for God's sake man, it's a seat. Everyone's really telling him to make a level 12 nuclear, defend my wife, argument when he just wants to go to his recently dead dad's funeral. Over one economy seat on one flight. On a fucking interstate flight. Pretty much the shortest, easiest flights you can possibly take. Some people are really checked out. Yes, Ops Mill included, but still, you pick your battles, edit. Mill is toxic according to original poster yet has no proof aside from, we disagree sometimes, and is civil to me, as well as the fact she bought them 2 last-minute plane tickets while planning her husband's funeral. Original poster is such an asshole, I can smell it from here. Seriously. This would be unforgivable for me. She chose not to go. She made that choice. Was Mill being nasty? Yes. Would I have been upset too? Yes. I would never ever abandon my spouse. They can deal with Mill later. There's still the ability to deal with Mill. There are no second chances here. Original poster can never undo this. And the part that really gets me is that the original poster's husband even said we'll deal with Mill later, because he clearly knows that there's something up there. But the most important thing on his mind at that time was the fact that his father just died. This post isn't about seats on a plane. Yeah, there's a huge difference in the verdict, emo. If this is the culmination of a long pattern of Mill being passive-aggressive and or the husband not sticking up for his wife versus her randomly choosing this hill to die on. I personally don't think it matters that much in this instance. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills reading the responses here. How on earth could it ever be okay to miss your husband's dad's funeral because you were pissed that your Mill booked one first-class ticket and one economy ticket? Her justification in the edit makes it even worse. Her stated reason that she was so upset was because she wanted to sit next to her husband and comfort him, basically. But when she realized she couldn't because the MLL is a dickbag, she decides to just not support him at all? She goes back home and misses her FIL's funeral and abandons her husband completely right after the death of his father? Over a seat being economy? That's so next level petty and disrespectful to her husband. At the airport on the way to a parent's funeral is not the time to throw a fit and make a stand. My husband's dad died after a long battle with progressive supranuclear palsy, rare brain disease, 5 months ago. I would have taken that economy seat, and my mill is manipulative and petty also. In fact, I probably wouldn't even have gave a shit under the circumstances. Losing a parent is devastating and not at all the time to battle it out with mother-in-law over who can be more petty. In short, even if this was a long history of antagonizing behavior, this was not the way to handle it, or an appropriate time to do so. I'm going to go with everyone sucks here. Your mill booking your husband a first-class ticket and putting you in economy is low. But you should have gone. It was your husband's father who died. At the least, you should have been there to support him. Everyone sucks here. Well played, mill. Unfortunately, the one who looks bad to everyone is you. I think it's a pretty reasonable everyone sucks here, but you've made a tactical error. If you went and supported your husband, you could later be the good wife who is concerned about why your mill did that. You were the mistreated one. It definitely was a hostile thing to do to you. But now your husband is mad and grieving and you're the wife who skipped her FIL's funeral. You look like a person who deserves dislike from her mill. You were the victim of drama and you made it worse. Original poster should have gone and completely ignored what mill did. I hate people who say, be the bigger person, but in this case, original poster could have been the totally supportive, loving wife, who dropped everything to be by hubby's side. And if Mill is as petty as she seems, she probably would have outed herself and ended up as the bad guy. But I also understand that original poster could have been at her last breaking point on MIL's behavior. She sounds terrible. Or gone and said, it was so kind of you to give my husband the first-class seats. I just wish I could have been there to support him during the flight. Still, it was a lovely gesture. Mill would probably start steaming. Your mill sucks for sure, but you are the asshole. Your husband lost his dad and you made it about you and MIL's pettiness. 1000% everyone sucks here. You could have been the bigger person and stepped up to support your husband. He lost his father and the last thing on his mind should have been dealing with pettiness from you and your mill. Suck it up, sit in the seat, and then don't talk to your mill while you're there. Then when you get home, have that talk with your husband about how you were being treated by your mill and how things need to change. After that, if he won't help or takes his mother's side, then you have your answer as to who he thinks is more important and you can either deal or move on. Not the asshole people that are saying ESH or YTA are concerning to me. If this had happened, my husband absolutely 100% would have supported me. To maintain the peace, it would have been quiet like, 1. Giving me the first-class seat while he sat in economy, or 2. Calling the airline and paying to upgrade my seat quietly, so that we were both in first class together. Not a word would have been said to Mill until much later, because no need to actively address it right then, but I never for a second would have questioned if he had my back. Just as I would have his back by going to the funeral and smiling and being willing to take the small digs to avoid some drama by Mill. I would pretend the whole airline incident never happened for the whole funeral, all the while smiling knowing that my husband and I were a team in it together, and that we had the last laugh because we didn't let her mistreatment of me equal his mistreatment of me. And #X200B. Those saying you need compassion clearly don't understand the difference between compassion, i.e. the above solution, and mistreatment, i.e. what your husband chose. No circumstances excuse someone from blatantly choosing to mistreat their partner or being complacent when he sees blatant mistreatment. And if the hubby needed original poster's support so much, surely he would have wanted her by his side during the flight, no? Bingo. Hey, we're going to my dad's funeral and I really need your support, so while I'm in first class, just shut up and sit in the economy class ticket my mother bought you. When we get there, I'll stay in the hotel suite while you're in the motel off the interstate. And how easy would it be to ask original poster's seatmate to trade their seat in economy for Hub's first class ticket? That would have thrown MIL's master stroke right back in her face. Hubs would have gotten his wife's support and stood up to Mill and forced Mill to pay for a stranger's upgrade. That would have been the way. This was my first reaction too. Why didn't husband sacrifice his first class ticket if he really needed support that badly? I would have gladly swapped places with the husband. Everyone sucks here. Pick your battles. Was what she did nice? No. Was the point where you were flying out to his dad's funeral the time to pick a hill to die on? Also no. Could your husband have dealt with it better? Yes, but he gets a bit of a pass as his dad died and his wife and mother were deliberately trying to wind each other up. I've never seen a post here be so divided. It's pretty obvious who has actually lived through the death of a parent they had a good relationship with and who hasn't. Going against the grain. You are the asshole. Mill sucks and what she did was shitty. This wasn't about her. This was about you as a wife being there to support your husband. Everyone sucks here. Mill is a complete and total asshole. Husband allows his mother to crap on his wife and original poster would rather sulk than be there for her husband when his father dies. Absolutely everyone sucks here. Everyone sucks here. You'd have flown economy anyway. Not only did you let your husband down by skipping out on his father's funeral over a really petty personal slight, but you gave your asshole Mill exactly what she wanted. You not there and everyone mad at you. Everyone sucks here, but I don't know, I think mostly you are the asshole. That was extremely crappy of Mill to not book you that ticket with your husband, but at least she got you a ticket. It was his father who passed away. You should have put your feelings aside and been there to support him during this hard time. You could have hashed it out with Mill after. I can't imagine going to my dad's funeral alone because my wife was upset with Mill.